All right, everyone, this video is about how the 2020 election was stolen and by who and what for. So I want to make this video clear that this is going to be from an angle that you might not expect, definitely not from me and from any others, and it's from a way that you won't hear it anywhere else, because this is the game changer now that all the data is in. Right. This is what we're talking about now that all the facts are in. So I want you to understand what happened, how, and why. Because what I want to explain to you this evening is that the election was stolen not from Donald Trump, but from you and from me. Okay? And that's what's an important thing, because this is a turning point of no matter what your politics are or what you want to come out of it. This is going to be the blueprint of how you can attempt to get there. And I don't care if you're a direct adversary to what I'm advocating for. What I feel like at this point is most important is that the two actual sides, if there are two sides, the two actual sides should decide. Conflict, resolution, compromise, whatever it's going to be. And at this point in time, we're not even at the table. No matter where you stand currently, we're not at the table. And we're not going to get to the table vicariously through the two people who ran for president in 2020. So I'm going to go piece by piece and kind of break it down in broader strokes. But if you fill in the blanks yourself, you'll be able to see the momentum of the point that I'm making. So let's go back to 2020. So on the Democratic side, I'm a progressive in the traditional sense. I'm just not rallying for things that you might consider extreme. Some of the things I'm sure do fall into that batch, but that's neither here nor there, because I'm not going to argue the merits of what my politics are versus the evil and the malice of your politics, and that's not it. This is the machine picking on me and you, and for this point, sheathe my sword a little bit towards you to tell you what we need to do going forward. So, primaries, just telling you where I stand. I'm progressive, Bernie level type thing. Okay. So obviously, going into 2020, folks like me said, hey, the right's made their move. They picked the most, from our perspective, most extreme candidate, comforting the enemy, inflaming the racist, sexist, homophobe, misogynist, whatever else, doing his thing and whatever, and taking these people from the fringe, giving them voice, making them the mainstream, and millions of people are flocking to that side to support that. And now it's our turn. The Democratic Party abused us last time. Hillary won a popular vote, but we have an electoral college. So that's neither here nor there in that way. But the machinery said it was her turn, got rid of Bernie, it's too radical, whatever else, while the right ran their radical candidate. So on the left, we was like, we need our Trump. Our Trump basically would be Bernie, get our guy in there, or somebody of that ilk. I don't care if they're younger, older, whatever else, get somebody in there of that ilk. Warren's running, Yang's running, anybody that's more progressive. So we are, Bernie wins New Hampshire. It looks like the momentum is all the heat coming from the progressive side of the party. We're coming out of the summer of 2020. Trump is gassing like it's 1923, the protesters outside to march around, to hold the Bible upside down and all this type of stuff. He didn't beat up on Kaepernick. He's given enough red meat to his side, but also, of course, when you do that, you give red meat to the other side. So there's one side like, yes, he's doing everything I ever wanted, and another side like, this better go for something to happen. So that's coming out of it. We need somebody that's going to fight. He's telling it like it is from their perspective. We need somebody telling it like it is from our perspective. Now, Hillary had a chance in 2008 against Obama, right? And like Biden says, hey, this thing isn't over until the black and brown people vote. These are the major cities. These are going to be these things like that turns these states purple and blue. So I'm not leaving until black people vote. So, but black people are so much more practical than white liberals, right? They're going to be like, because black people are conservative. They're not Republican, but they're conservative. So they're just like, yeah, Obama would be great, but this is America. And they're not going to put, I don't care how white he is, how many pictures you take with his white mama, it's America. So Hillary's the thing. But Bill Clinton went up and did the whole big, this is the biggest fairy tale type thing or whatever else, and black people got slighted. And the white liberals were voting for Obama already, ready to just like, we need to make this move for America and prove that we're not a racist country. So now Obama has this momentum. I bring this up because Biden's tactic combined a little bit of both. So Bernie wins in New Hampshire, and it looks like the momentum's going there. Yang steps out. Klobuchar's still there. Warren's still there. So we're like, Democrats should have the message after 2020 and the summer and everything else, the momentum is with the progressives. It's not with this old stoic thing or whatever else, because when you're on the right, you're rolling everybody together. But AOC and Pelosi are constantly at war. And you want to go on TV and be like, oh, they're this, that. They're not. You know that they don't have anything in common. She has been staving off the progressive ends of the party. Biden is there to brunt the progressive ends of the party. That's what they'll be doing. And on the left, we're being quiet and suppressed while they fan the furthest far rights of their party. They didn't run Mitt Romney again. They tried that. They tried John McCain. They said, that ain't working. Forget that. We're going all the way out. And then we're still doing milquetoast. So we weren't very happy about that. We wanted somebody that was actually going to do the things we wanted done. So Biden's in his campaign. He does the whole, you're not black if you don't vote for me statement. They've made up their mind at this point. After he gets Super Tuesday, and Sanders ultimately has to concede and say.
So today I am asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which
Trump is seen as so radically anti-black after Kaepernick and his stances against Black Lives Matter and everything else, that he's like, where is the black party, black people, where would the black people go? You can't afford to, don't threaten me that you're going to vote for Trump. Y'all want more of that? This looks like George Wallace out here. Is that what you want 4 more years of? So don't tell me you're going somewhere else. And then he played on I did 8 years under Obama, let me finish his work. And I was like, what work? Obamacare? It's done. I mean, it's not, Obama was the first white president with a black parent. Obama had to be Jackie Robinson. He couldn't have a scandal. He couldn't have had 23 women show up before he's elected and say he assaulted them. He couldn't have paid off a porn star and still have all this support. He'd been done. You can't do anything when you're black that still has rallying endless support for Trump. So it's that played not well, but black people are just like, it's America. I'm going to go vote for this nigga anyway. So the left is shut out. And that play that Bill Clinton did to get Hillary the working class white vote now can work for Biden. And Biden's pitch is, I'm going to reunify America. So he's going, the progressives have no choice. They're going to vote anti-Trump. So now all I need as the Democratic nominee is to get the Republican votes. And he sells, right, the unify in America, so on and so forth. And it works. This is how and why the election is not stolen. And that whole he won sense. Because now the fix is in from the right to get rid of Trump. The fix is in from the right to get rid of Trump. Because Trump is just a narcissistic grifter. He's not going to give you what you want no more than Biden's going to give me what I want. You don't have a wall. It's 4 years of the QAnon pedophile ring. Nothing's gone. Swamp's there. Nothing happened. Milquetoast. Obama, Trump, whoever, milquetoast. That's my point tonight. Nothing's happened. So the fix is in from the right to give comfort to the Republicans to vote Democratic, to vote for Biden instead of Trump. He's done their tax cut. He's done the Supreme Court. That's the only thing the establishment Republicans needed from Trump. That's it. They don't need the wall. They don't need, because the wall is like having him become president. And he said, well, where's your repeal? Where's your replacement Romneycare for Obamacare? They had nothing. They just say no to the other guy and try to get back in power. They're still just wrestling over power. So there was never any wall that was coming. There was never any swamp draining. There was no end to the pedophile ring. There was none of this stuff that the fringes have made mainstream. He wasn't even working. He didn't spend any energy on it. He was meeting Kim Kardashian. He was focusing on other stuff, having rallies, and he's out still president. None of that came up. So this is where Fox leaves.
The Fox News decision desk can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden will win Pennsylvania and Nevada, putting him over the 270 electoral votes he needs to become the 46th president of the United States.
Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, who stated in this process, "I will never give up fighting for you and our nation," will be denied a second term. That has not happened since 1992 and President George H.W. Bush. Keep in mind, the Trump campaign is in the midst of waging legal challenges in several states, but the path is clear for the new president-elect.
The states will all need to officially certify the vote. In the middle of a pandemic, almost 150 million Americans voted, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will receive the most votes of any presidential ticket ever.
Senator Kamala Harris will be the first woman and the first woman of color to become vice president of the United States. President Trump garnered 5.5 million more votes than he did in 2020 than he did in 2016 and closed the gap in the final days after barnstorming the nation. Whether he chooses to concede or decides to wait until these legal challenges play out is yet to be seen.
Oh, he has legal challenges. But state after state, as you know now, you're not paying any attention to because they're echo chambering you. But none of them succeeded. Arizona, nowhere. He challenged Georgia. And these were Republicans who were testifying at January 6th. They tried. They looked for what he was saying was there. They wanted to find it. They wanted to find a legal way, a legitimate way, something wrong with the machine, something wrong with the count, something wrong with who voted, something wrong with anything, to make him the president again. But they did not really care because they knew it was the Republican voters who had been given the comfort to go Republican congressman, Republican dog catcher, Republican senator, Joe Biden. It wasn't illegals. It wasn't stuffed ballots. It was because you don't have a problem that the Senate is split. You don't have a problem that they picked up votes in the House. There's only one card when you go vote. If the machine's broken, then the Democrats should have all the houses in the Senate, and they should have, all the seats in the Senate and all the seats in the House. Because all the extra Biden votes go to all these extra congressmen, all these other local dog catchers, and these members of the Senate. And it didn't. This is Republican voters sitting there going, okay, Joe, but I don't want him to completely control the Senate, and I don't want him to control Congress. We just got to get rid of the buffoon. one ballot, you have a Republican senator, you have a Republican congressman, and the guy at the top doesn't get the vote. How's the machine broken? It's not. The fix was in from the right.
The Fox News Decision Desk is calling Arizona for Joe Biden.
I think a lot of people still aren't totally sure about Arizona either. Some people think that may have been called a little too early.
I'm not certain I disagree with the call, but I think maybe it's a little premature. I'd be careful to understand how many more votes are out there. I'm confident the desk is doing that, but this is one where a little bit of caution might be useful.
I know other networks have called. We haven't, and I think we're very wise in doing so. I know this network takes that responsibility very seriously, as they should, and I'm very proud to be affiliated with that, because I think the call of Arizona, from what I'm hearing, is premature.
Arizona, are you 100% sure of that call and when you made it, and why did you make it?
Absolutely. We made it after basically a half hour of debating, is it time yet? Because it's been clear for a while that the former vice president is in the lead in Arizona and was most likely to win the state.
They call it. Biden makes it okay. The Democrats play up Trump, play him up, drive out the left, drive out the right. A lot of people came out from the right. But a quarter of them could not bring themselves to push that last hole through in that car for Donald Trump instead of Biden. Because Biden is like voting for Mitt Romney or John McCain for them. Because they have money. They have resources. They work every day. They're not xenophobic. They're not racist in that sense. They got black employees. They got migrant workers, and the cultural issues are not their issues. Tax cuts, keeping their money, keeping taxes low, stuff like that is the only things they care about. Cultural issues is not what they're voting on. Cultural issues are for poor people and working class people, because a capital gains tax cut doesn't rally the troops at the grassroots. So that's what happened. That's the video. That's Fox News. That's not the lamestream media. That's not the libs. That's Fox. Election's over. Joe Biden has what he needs to beat Donald Trump. The end. And state after state, it panned out to be true. It doesn't matter if you deny it. It doesn't matter how many shirts you wear. It doesn't matter how many rallies you go to. It was in. And the point I'm making with this video is your will was thwarted, my will was thwarted. Again, even if we're adversaries, we should be allowed to have this fight, not to have it blunted by the machinery in the middle. So after they called the election, it's all uphill because Fox has moved on. And once Fox moved on, the official right have moved on. Now, don't get me wrong. They talk up Trump. They bash Biden. But they were going to bash Biden anyway. That's ratings. That's selling T-shirts and cars and ED medicine. They were going to bash Biden. But they had a plan to get rid of Trump. So what do we do now to get the changes we want? Well, at this point, I don't care if we have the proud Antifa Oath BLM party. Our issues need to come to the forefront, because all we're doing is just being fed silos and echo chambers to be useful to our political oligarchy when they want us, and then they get in office and do the same old shit, independent of which one of them go in there. That's just a matter of fact. I'm over 50 years old. That's the way it's been my whole life. That's the way it's going to be your whole life. That's the way it's been your whole life. That nothing really changes. And most of us won't change. And we're going to have to fizzle out and filter out all the dog whistles and red meat issues that are driving us and focus on what is important, what will help our families, what will help our friends, what will improve our lives, if that even means helping each other. As a matter of fact, I know that helping each other will improve everybody's overall situation. But being fed red meat by both parties only to suit their purposes when they're not going to do it anyway. You're not getting a wall. We're not getting free college. We're not getting it anyway. So why worry about that? And we can still discuss the fray issues of how many bathrooms there are at the local schools, or there's transgender reassignments, surgeries in the cafeteria, or if there's going to be a bunch of white militants walking up and down, shooting up every school every day. That's the fray. That's not reality. That has nothing to do with our actual choices. There's a bunch of campaign commercials, whatever else, telling us those are our two choices. If I resign, that's the America that's coming. And if you resign, that's the America that's coming. And it's not coming either way. I see them with the ARs. I see them standing out in front of this. I see bigoted tweets. I see this. That's fine. But that's not the conservative right-wing Americans I've known my whole life. You've seen all the smash and the mob and the this, that, and the other. And that's not the blacks you know. That's not the liberals you know. That's not your left-wing friends you know. We can go back to arguing at Thanksgiving the nuances of certain issues and come to some type of agreement. We can work out gun control. We can work out abortion. We can work out schools. We can work out history. We can work out jobs, stimulus. But the oligarchy, the political oligarchy, the liberal elites, the Republican elites, and they're the Republican elites. That's our tax cut, corporate, military, industrial complex contractors who live in a country making billions of dollars, not feeding meals to our troops out there starving like Halliburton, who let our veterans be homeless, but we spend way more on the military than anybody else. We spend way more on healthcare than anybody else. And that's our liberal attorneys who become congressmen. That's our liberal doctors who become senators. That's our Republican senators who are doctors and lawyers or whatever else, who are never going to vote against their own interests. And insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies and whatever else. And meanwhile, black, white, green, rural, urban, we can't afford the medicine. We can't get what we need. We can't have our wages keep up. Doesn't matter who you vote for. What do you think they're getting ready to do about inflation? Inflation is to keep us on this hamster wheel. That's not political. That's the corporations. That's them unleashed. There's nothing for the Republicans to say about that. How are you gonna fix it? COVID-19 happened at the end of 19 and 2020. The stimuluses and the rent locks and all that money went out in 2020. Who was president in 2020? Inflation, gas prices. That came due, and that was put out before this person took office in 2021. I'm just telling you, let's have a cold, sober conversation. Not that Biden fixed it, but stop telling yourself Trump had it going. He didn't. And I'm telling you halfway into the Biden administration, he doesn't have it going. Right now, the Democrats are stealing your vote by putting $50 million into election deniers. This is why I'm on here, my conservative friends. Because state after state, many Republicans, those Biden Republicans, regular Republicans, everyday Republicans, Republicans who want to distance themselves from this huckster, fraudster, grifter, narcissist, Trump, are putting up mainstream Republican candidates who aren't going to do anything. Of course, don't get me wrong. I can't talk out of both sides and say, well, you should have a this, that, and other. But I'm just saying we're not going to get from grifter, huckster, narcissist, milquetoast, do nothing. That there's somebody, if we put the demands in, that isn't Mitt Romney and isn't Trump. We need somebody who speaks for all of us and can get something done for all of us. This is a person that almost should be able to get 80% of the Republican vote and 40% of the Democratic vote, or vice versa. Of them being able to say, well, yeah, I can do it. I can deal with this person. This person sees me. Because that's what we're running from right now. If the other guy gets in, he's against me and I'm invisible. What I'm saying makes no sense to him. He has no need for me. He's promised my enemies my head on a spike. And I can't let that happen. Is your head going on a spike? No. Woke Mob didn't put it on a spike. Antifa didn't put it on a spike. BLM didn't put it on a spike. They didn't come from you. They didn't go down your neighborhood. They didn't do anything. Does the right wing come for me? No. I'll be all right. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about no race war. I'm not concerned about no civil war or whatever else. If it comes to that, it's going to be brief. So I'm not worried about that. What I am worried about is what they're saying. 70-80% of Americans are worried about us losing a democracy. We've had a pseudo-democracy so far as it is. With this electoral college and the gerrymandering and the offsets and the political hand-wringing and the career politicians and all of these things that we run out here and vote, and in every level, our influence, our impact is diluted. First, we vote for electors. Then they'll decide if they'll vote the way you voted. That's a democracy. We have election monitors who go out from this country watching third world countries, and we have an electoral college. And we vote for Congress and Senate. But our Senate exists. Mainly just say, so big populous states don't have influence. Yes, that's on paper. But primarily, this was to be the wiser thing to still prevent and modify and brunt the will of the people. I'm all for it. It's the federal level. Made sure that when racism was rampant, segregation or whatever else, that you couldn't just get enough congressmen and push it through or whatever else, that there was a Senate. That you couldn't just get all the red states together because there were big blue states and could control it. Beneficiary of it. Doesn't make it right. So I'm all for the feds being able to stop radical southern states from stopping things turning back into apartheid. But the bottom line is, more than I need Biden to get a grip on DeSantis, the system doesn't work. I shouldn't have my governor and president not be on the same page. I shouldn't feel like one is trying to help me and one is trying to kill me. I shouldn't feel like one is trying to protect my rights and one is going to take them all away. And you shouldn't feel that way either. And we do. And it shouldn't be true by any stretch of the imagination. And we've lived long enough to know that it's not completely true. This guy come in and curtail some of my rights. This guy come in and give some of them right and take back some of yours. But that's a discussion between your America and my America, not between these self-enriching elites. So that's how the 2020 election was stolen. And unfortunately, a month from now, the 2022 election will be stolen.